Welcome back to Yu-Gi-Oh! History with Joe Giorlando. In today's video, Sean and I are going to play Dark Strike Fighter format. I know it's been a while since I last had a match on the channel. I've been doing a lot of deck profiles, but I've certainly had a lot of feedback about wanting to see some of the decks in action, so I've elected to use the Synchro deck from a couple weeks ago. One mistake in the deck profile from a few weeks ago is that I didn't actually put Monster Reborn in the deck. Funny thing is, I had the deck built. I had my Ultra Rare Foreign Monster Reborn put aside and in the deck, so I actually had this exact deck built. But I thought about running Monster Reborn in a modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck, so I took it out of the retro deck and then forgot to put it back in when I actually sat down to do the profile. So if you go back and watch the Synchro deck from a few weeks ago, specifically the one during Dark Strike Fighter format, note that there should be a Monster Reborn in the deck. But besides that, this is the exact deck that I profiled a couple weeks ago, and it is the deck that I'm going to use. Though I did cut a Stardust Dragon to put in the second Black Rose Dragon. I guess that's another change that I made. But besides that, I think everything is exactly the same. I don't know exactly what Sean is going to run. Obviously, we're playing Dark Strike Fighter format. I gave him a couple options, so we'll see what he ends up going with. But Synchro is a fun deck. It's a deck that won Nationals at the hands of Chris Ferber, a good friend of mine, so I'm curious to see how things go. We won the roll, which is obviously really good. You obviously want to win the roll in any format where you draw 6, so that's obviously a good start. Let's see what we have here. All right, so this is actually game. I'll draw the next card. So because I have Summoner Monk, if I have the opportunity to go to a battle phase, this is actually game because I've Monked 2 spells. I also actually have a little bit of protection. Because of that, I think I'm just going to summon Cyber Valley and pass. There's some discussion about potentially setting MST if he's running Black Wings, but I honestly don't care if he gets Whirlwind off. The fact that I Monster Born also helps if he puts a monster on the field, so I think I'm just going to go summon Cyber Valley and pass, and then hope to next turn, if he sets a back row, I have MST and my body's a shield as protection, and then I have potentially Monk and some spells. I think Sean's realizing this new emote, which I actually didn't even realize was a thing either. I guess I'll use it right now. I feel like every time I go to play DB or whatever this is, Dueling Book, right? They're all different emotes. There's the thumbs up, the thinking. But yeah, I think Cyber Valley Pass is the play here. There's really no other play. I want to keep all the spells in my hands. So I'm just going to Cyber Valley Pass. If the Cyber Valley lives, I get 2 draw phases, which is really good, or a draw phase plus the Cyber Valley draw. I can draw into other spells. To actually deal 8,000 damage, there's a possibility that I'll actually need the Monster Reborn. So we'll see how that ends up going. This is a small thing, but drawing this extra Air Bellum is a little annoying because if I go Monk double spell, assuming I draw another spell and it's actually Reborn that I keep, if I Reborn the Rescue Cat, I won't have Air Bellum in my deck because I have to go Monk, into Cat, into 2 Air Bellums, and then that's double Dark Strike Fighter on the field. Oh, that's interesting. I guess that can somewhat complicate things a little bit. Oh, okay. This is actually totally fine. Yeah, this is fine. So he's going to Brain Control here and draw 2. Because he's using Cyber Valley, he's either playing SalvoDAD, which is one of the options I asked him to consider. Yep, now he's definitely running SalvoDAD. SalvoDAD is a version of basically a Dark Arm deck that has Black Salvo and Dukoichi in order to go into level 7 Synchro monsters like Black Rose and then more specifically Dark Strike Fighter. Because he's running Cyber Valley, the options were that this was a mirror match or this was SalvoDAD. Because he just used Gold Sark for Destiny Draw, it's obvious what he's running. All right, so this should be game. He does have Gores in his deck, so I do need to be a little aware of that. There's also the possibility that this is Dust Shoot. So if I go MST and he uses Dust Shoot, that's a little annoying. His deck technically also has Threatening Roar if he's running Adam's version. So although my hand is incredible, I really should have game through a lot of different things. There is the possibility that if I make this really aggressive push, that he actually can counteract it. So there is a universe where I actually just summon Air Bellum and attack, because if this is Threatening Roar, he'll probably Threatening Roar there because he doesn't want to discard a card. There is a possibility where that happens. If I go Monk double spell and he does have Threatening Roar, it's a little annoying. That's kind of an interesting decision point here. So because he Gold Sarked Destiny Draw, we can assume that he has Malicious in hand. That's presumably why you would do that. If he actually had Stratos, I think you would actually go summon Stratos, use the effect, and then Brain Control my Cyber Valley. So one of the cards in his hand is almost certainly Malicious or Plasma. I think you can make that assumption. Gold Sarker is really good with Return from the Different Dimension, so it's unlikely that this card is Return. So we can get that one card in hand is Malicious or Plasma. He doesn't have Mind Control in hand, or else he would have Mind Controlled there, not Brain Control. I guess there's some debate because I've set monsters. But just in theory, Brain Control is more powerful. Just trying to get a read on some of the potential cards in his hand. Because I have a powerful opportunity here, but it's really kind of questionable what I should do. My hand, no, it still has 4. So I think I'm actually going to open up with MST here. I think this gives me the opportunity to win, but also, okay. So I'm just going to go for it here. If he has Gores, then, you know, then he has Gores. You know, I think in this format, you just kind of go for it. I don't think you just sit around and wait. And if he has Gores, then he has Gores. You know, in the finals of Nationals this year, Chris Ferber actually says in the commentary, and if you have it, then you have it. What's cool here is I actually can go into Arcanite Magician because he has less life. That way, if he does have Gores, I can at least destroy it main phase 2, because this is a 24. So now, if he has Gores, I actually think I want to attack with Dark Strike first, because he has to just Gores the first attack. There's no reason to really hold it, because if he knows that I can Arcanite main phase 2, so it's actually more damage to do Dark Strike Fighter first. Yeah, he's saying GG. So he takes that, and then he takes this. And then main phase 2, we shoot this off for 14, and then we shoot this off for 14. So the fact that he paid the 800 off Brain Control that first turn actually allowed me to go into Arcanite Magician, which does play around Gores a little bit. So that was, you know, that might have seemed super obvious. And I remember in a video I posted months ago, somebody said that I tend to overthink things. And maybe I do. I feel like in these particular videos, I think it's worthwhile to give as much commentary as possible, because I think it is valuable. But I do think it's important there, right? There is a possibility there where if I just go MST and he roars, what's my fallback? Well, my fallback sets by. I could be super conservative and summon Airbellum, and one of two things happens. One, he uses roar, and I think I'm okay there. Or 2, the attack goes through and I'm probably okay there. Or, you know, 3, which is what ultimately happened, you had a card like MST set. You know, to the extent that you play around Gores, I think there, because I could go Arcanite Magician, because he lost 800 life points earlier, is the reason why I should go for it after that, right? I should MST and just go for it. And he could have also just set Dust Shoot and waited to Dust Shoot me, which is something that is a little bit risky in this format because Monk double spells a game like that, but regardless, it ended up working out. But I do think there were some decision points there. In terms of side decking, I don't think DD Crow's all that bad. You know, against Black Salvo, it rids him of his Decoichi. Against Malicious, it's pretty good. So I think I'll probably want to side into Crows. And then Gore seems pretty good, all things considered. Trunade is not especially good in the sense that his deck has Roars and it has mostly chainables. And I have sort of a lot of redundancy in my back rows. So I'm actually going to side Gores out. Or sorry, Giant Trunade out. Bottomless is not amazing against him in the sense that it stops Dark Arm, but we could debate sort of on how good that actually is. But besides that, it's Greffer, Stratos, and then whatever Black Salvo gets. With Bottomless, we just have to be careful. Definitely going to side out Mirror Force. Mirror Force is definitely not good. His deck is going to want to destroy Mirror Force with Dark Arm Dragon and with Black Salvo going into Black Rose Dragon. So definitely going to side out Mirror Force. I think I'm going to keep Oppression in. His deck is kind of weak to Oppression. Oppression and Gores aren't exactly two cards that get along with each other. They conflict quite a bit, but I think we'll still do that. There's a possibility where I actually want to side in the Dust Tornado so that I can end phase pick off a Threatening Roar. So we'll consider that. These are definitely the 3 auto includes, though. In terms of siding out, I think Gale is a pretty replaceable card. I'm not overwhelmingly impressed by Gale. I mean, it's okay, but if it's not the mirror, if it's not Black Wings, then you don't get the Mind Control, Brain Control interaction. And other than that, it's just kind of a mediocre card, in my opinion. It does get over things like Stardust, which his deck can make because it's running Plague/Malicious. So maybe we'll start here. I don't want to side out too many spells either, or else I have a less likely of a chance to actually Monk double spell. So let's see. If I want to put in Dust Tornado, I would have to side out a trap. Maybe I side out the Bottomless. I don't think it's overwhelmingly likely, but his deck did side Skill Drain too. So maybe I'll do it like this. Yeah, I like hedging a little bit, having a Bottomless and a Dust. Try and end phase, Dust Tornado, Threatening Roar, and then OTK. Yeah, I like this. Okay, we're going to go with this, right? Nobleman. Nobleman against Dekoichi's fine, but I honestly don't really mind. I'm just going to use DD Crow instead as an out to Dekoichi. If the only monster he's setting is Dekoichi, it's not really worth siding a Nobleman. All right, so we have a pretty slow hand, but we'll see what ends up happening. This hand can become obviously amazing if I draw Summoner Monk, because then I'll just presumably do just about the same thing I did game one. But as is currently constituted, a pretty slow hand. Yep. Allure of Darkness. The Black Salvo deck has double Allure and double Destiny Draw for draw power. So it does have a little bit of a way to filter. Okay, Gold Sark. It means he has no more draw power, right? You want a Gold Sark theoretically towards the end. So he banishes reinforcements of the army. Rhoda can search Greffer and Stratos. So either one of two things here is he has something like a Destiny Draw, and he's hoping to get, obviously, Stratos to go into Malicious or Plasma. Or alternatively, he has an OTK hand and he wants to get Greffer. So here, my hand is pretty passive. So I think I'm just going to set Spy. Okay, he's going to use Dust Shoot. Yep, that's fine. So my hand's not great, but he's going to probably put the Spy back, I assume. It's by far the best one. Oh, Guard. Okay. That's interesting. Wanting to set this for a second because I need to figure out why he picked Guard over Spy. What is the reasoning for this? It has more defense, more attack, and it has a better effect. Maybe he's afraid of Book of Moon plus Guard, somehow disrupting him. Could just be that he has Nobleman. That's presumably probably the most likely reason. I don't know if his deck actually sides Nobleman. I'm going to set the Spy still, even after those considerations. And he knows that I have Book of Moon, but I'm going to still set it because of Mind Control plus Valley. I don't think he'd play into it, but I think, he might consider me setting one of the other two cards. With this deck, you have to be wary of setting spells because Monk does matter, right? If you just set MST and Book, now all of a sudden you only have one spell in hand. So anytime you set a spell, it is a premium set. All right, so draw. Airbellum. That was a pretty good draw. Pretty good draw. So I think what I'm going to do here is flip Spy. I don't think he's going to Torrential this. He might, but I don't really think he's going to. And then I can MST his back row. And if his back row is his own MST, I can chain it on the Spy to set it back face down. And I think it's better because if he does Torrential, I keep MST in hand. And then that interaction also just keeps more spells in hand. So I think I'm actually going to flip the Spy first. And I don't have to worry about his set being Dust Shoot. So I'm going to search a copy of Spy in defense. Give him an opportunity. Okay, wait. Oh. Oh, okay. That makes a whole lot of sense. That was a bit of a mistake. Well, okay. So that changes things a little bit. I still think I set Guard regardless. I still think I set Guard regardless. All right, yeah, that's fine. I still think you're supposed to set Book of Moon there regardless because it plays around Valley Mind Control. So I think it's basically the same game state. In terms of what to do, I think here I should probably MST. I think MST here is probably fine because what I'll be able to do, so I'll be able to MST this. Now he set that knowing that I have MST. Okay. And I'll be able to summon Airbellum, and I'm not actually going to flip the Guard. I'm going to attack. This way, if he has Gores, I can bounce it to his hand. So I'll get rid of this one. Alarm. I'm going to main phase 2. So he's going to be able to Rhoda for Stratos, so I can't really let that happen. Or I could let that happen, actually. If I let that happen, he's going to summon Stratos and attack. And I'll be able to Book of Moon the Stratos. I don't really want to flip guard and put it back to his hand, though. I could flip guard right now, which is crazy. The reason why I'm talking about it in that manner is if I Book of Moon his Stratos and I have to flip guard to attack over it and then attack directly with Arabellum, it doesn't really feel that great because I'm losing the Book of Moon and he has the Stratos in hand. If I flip this guard and just leave it in attack mode, I can actually use Book of Moon on his Stratos and then attack the guard over the Stratos and then directly again with Arabellum. You know, he has Destiny Draw in hand, so he's going to be able to do something somewhat aggressive next turn. Or I could just flip this in Synchro into Arcanite Magician, but I don't really love just putting an Arcanite Magician on the field without any good follow-up. It's interesting. I kept the guard set in case he had Gores. That was the logic there. But now it's kind of interesting what's the best play to do. I can't just go into Dark Strike. You know, you can just brain control it. You don't really want that to happen. Flip guard pass, or flip guard set oppression pass seems so weird, but he knows all of my cards, so I need to keep that in consideration because I summoned the Arabellum, so he knows all 4 of these cards. So he's not going to just play into oppression. Flip this, set this. This might seem like an unorthodox play, but I think it's the play that honestly gives me the best chance of winning, which I think is important. There is a universe where maybe I just go into Arabellum pass, and then I can attack over the Stratos. Maybe that's better. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go into Arabellum pass. Yeah, this is better. This is better. This is like the same thing, but I don't have to use Book of Moon on Stratos. This is so much better. It feels weird, but I think it's actually better. Yeah, this is the play. Because now I have Oppression Arabellum, which is kind of hard to deal with. I have Book of Moon. I mean, there are things that can go wrong here. He can just have Heavy Storm and then it's all for naught. But this is actually better. That way, if I have to flip my Oppression, I don't just have a 1600 attack monster. It also gives me a 3rd monster in the graveyard for Pot of Avarice. So I think this is just better. And if I get to attack over the Stratos, it actually will take a card out of his hand. Okay, so this is probably Dekoichi. Right, he doesn't want to summon the Stratos. This actually worked out pretty well. Raiko's a solid drop. I don't think I just play fearful of Mirror Force. I don't think his deck plays Morphing Jar, so I don't think there's a reason to set Raiko first. It's just Dekoichi. Or Sangin, but probably Dekoichi, because his Tomato's banished. Mirror Force would be a little frustrating, but I feel like if he had Mirror Force, he would just summon the Stratos. Maybe he wants to play around me having a back row removal and then hitting him. Oh, okay. So he actually did side in Skill Drain. Okay. Okay, I see how it is. I'm still going to set Raiko because he's going to presume that it's a big defense monster. And if I can flip Raiko and then chain Book of Moon on it, it can kill his Skill Drain. And I'm going to assume that he thinks I have a big defense monster. I don't think he's just going to summon Stratos and try to attack it. He might, though. But if he does that, he has to preemptively flip Skill Drain. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I forgot he can actually do that. Yeah, okay. So he has to declare... It doesn't target if I allow it to get to this point, but the question is, do I want to Book of Moon anything? So if I Book of Moon the Defender, it protects my Oppression. I feel like Book of Moon is more valuable than Oppression. But it's not a guarantee. If he has Skill Drain, he's going to have to flip it. Because he didn't want me to get the draw off Defender. This is a tough point. I can't just book the Stratos, because it's still going to check up to the number of hero monsters you control except this one. So he's going to have Defender. So if I Book of Moon the Stratos, they both die. So that's out of the question. It's actually better to just let Stratos resolve. I think I let Oppression die. The only way to keep Oppression is to book the Defender, and then I don't actually get the draw. All right, I'm going to let this resolve. Sure, sure. You know, in terms of extenders, the ability to put another monster on the field, his deck doesn't have teleport in it, so he's going to need something like, you know, Plague Spreader through Greffer. That's really the best way of putting that into the grave to actually continue from this point. The fact that he didn't search makes it less likely that he has Destiny Draw, so there is something to consider there. There's still the possibility, though, that he flips Skill Drain and attacks the Raikou. Okay, so this is definitely one of these is definitely Skill Drain. So I'm going to draw, standby phase. Yep, here's the Skill Drain. Yep. The reason he's flipping it there is so that I don't get the extra draw, right? During each of my standby phases, I'd get an additional draw. Okay. So I can flip the Raikou and chain book to put it face down and actually get a resolution of an effect here. I think that's a likely outcome, but it's not a guarantee that that's the pathway. But it might be something that I consider doing. I think here I'm going to attempt to kill his Stratos. And then I think at that point, I could probably just pass to him depending on what happens. He's probably okay with this Defender lock going on. All right, so this was set before the Skill Drain. So this could be something like Return from the Different Dimension. That's the type of a card that he could have. He could also still have Crush Card too. There's really been no need to Crush Card, which would be a little annoying because I just drew this Airbellum. I think I'm going to declare an attack on the Stratos and see if he Crush Cards. Oh, Mirror Force. Okay, so it is Mirror Force. Okay. So he wanted me to take the 500 damage that last turn? That makes sense. That does make sense. I think I need to Raikou the Skill Drain because I want to unlock the ability to draw off Defender, and I kind of want to fill my graveyard. And then if I do that, I can actually have a Raikou set, and it be a live Raikou. If I just pass he attacks and I have to book, and that's just not very good. So I'm going to flip summon. I'm going to declare the effect, and I'm going to target the Skill Drain. I wait to see if he does anything. It would be crazy if I Torrential. that would be pretty powerful. If I Torrentialed right here, it clears this whole field and the Skill Drain, but obviously I don't have Torrential. Okay, I assume he doesn't want to do anything. So I'm going to set this as Chainlink 2. All right, so then I mill 3-2, which is huge with a Pot Avarice in my hand. Unless I hit all. Okay, I hit a monster, so I can't be too upset about that. All right, so here I'm just going to end. Now I have enough monsters if this Raikou hits the graveyard, and I have unlocked the ability to draw with Defender, and this is not another Skill Drain, or else he would have changed the Skill Drain. Okay, so where's Change Control? Move over there. Okay, so he can kill itself, and if he has a tuner, then that's obviously not great. Okay, that actually is really cool. Killing your own Defender, getting the mill 3. I like it. I like it. I'll be able to summon Airbellum and tune at least, so I'm in pretty good shape. He also hit, you know, Reborn, which is a nice card for him to get rid of. Oh, okay, never mind. That's really bad. Now this is just absolute worst case scenario because I don't have enough monsters in my extra deck or in my graveyard anymore. So that was worst case scenario, but that is what his deck is trying to do. So now I basically need to top deck something like, preferably Rescue Cat would be the best draw. Definitely not Solemn Judgment. I think I probably T-set. I'm low enough in life, and the Airbellum in my hand is not... The Airbellum is good if I draw Mind Control or Brain Control. Totally legit, but I think the 2 draws, I think, is more important. I basically want to see 3 draws next turn. My draw phase plus the double Pot Avarice. I think that's too valuable. And with Solemn Judgment, there actually might be a possibility where 3 draws from this point wins. Right, if I just keep this in my hand and pass, he deals 1,800 plus whatever more damage he can do in his deck. He's a ways off from Dark Arm. He doesn't have access to Black Salvo plus to Koichi yet, so I don't have to worry about too much damage output. But nevertheless, I don't want to risk it. His deck can get pretty aggressive. And draw phase plus double Pot Avarice, there's a lot, right? Spy slows the game down. I think there's a lot of things. So there's an argument to passing there. Keep Airbellum in my hand for one rotation, one turn, but I value the 3 draws, especially because I can deal so much damage out of the blue. Interesting game state, though. A much better game than game 1, for sure. Signing in the skill drain package makes it less likely that he even actually has the salvo package. Let's see what happened. Oh, so what happened? So did you special then? Yep, okay. Okay, results. Yeah. So we missed. He had 3 cards in hand. He discarded Malicious to summon Greffer. This card, unfortunately, is probably Plague Spreaders on me now, which is a little annoying. Okay, Valley. That I don't mind. This is fine. I mean, this is a draw too, but it's really, you know, Greffer plus Valley plus Malicious to go Greffer on field 2 in hand. So this hasn't really changed much for me. And this also shows that because I played the way I did there that previous turn by setting the Airbellum, right? He has 35 on board plus 800. It's not quite enough to have killed me, but maybe he could have made a slightly different play. That many back rows is a little bit scary. That's disheartening, right? I had the Airbellum, but I do stand by the fact that now I get to Avarice, and I have a lot of good outs. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I have so many good draws from this point. So we'll see if I can draw one. Anything defensive is good. It could be good. Nope, not good. I think I Heavy Storm because if he has Return from the Different Dimension, I don't want to just outright lose to that. You know, if he gets to return next turn, then I'm definitely going to lose because he gets 4 draws off the double Valley in the banish pile. He is thinking. I still have a lot of good outs. I'm going to set the Solemn Judgment. Hopefully he just draws a trap card, sets it, and then I can top deck something really good. I'm going to keep the Mind Control in hand. I was thinking about double bluffing. So there's the return. I was thinking about double bluffing there, but I actually want to keep this in case I draw Monk. Any monster here and I lose, though, because I can't Judgment. So any monster and I lose. Maybe not setting Airbellum was the play. I think maybe in retrospect, I still don't. I think it was so close. It really was so close. Because double pot Avarice draws. Oh, good. Look at this. I'm going to get another draw. So it's not quite over yet. If he just sets a trap card, there's still so many cards I can draw because I have the Judgment. No, I don't have enough there. I can Mind Control Greffer, use the effect, do nothing with it. Okay, fair. All right, I don't have a deck regard or anything. All right, fair. Fair. I think I'm going to keep the deck the way it is. Still don't think Bottomless is all that great. Yeah, we're going to keep it. I guess one thing is Cold Wave is not all that good if he's going to put in Skill Drain. So I think I'm actually going to put in Giant Trunade. And because of the fact that I don't think he's going to be OTKing through Salvo, I'm actually going to put Mirror Force back in the deck. Obviously, Mirror Force there would have been pretty good. So I'm going to side out the Cold Wave because if he chains Skill Drain to Cold Wave, that's really bad for me. Yeah, I think this is better. Maybe I should side out the Oppression. I'm a little late now to do that, but oh no, I can still swap. Yeah, let's swap those. Okay. I sided out the Oppression because if he's going to go into the Skill Drain version, then Oppression is not that great. Nobleman. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a good... And if he sides out the Skill Drain package, I still think my deck is functional, right? I don't have to... It's not like Trunade and Bottomless are that bad. Yeah, I think this will work. I had a lot of good outs that last game, though, with double Cat, triple Airbellum, double Monk, Any of the guards or spies would have been really good draws. Tomato was not enough. Valley would at least give me a redraw. Maybe Reborn, it depends what was in his graveyard. He didn't have much in his grave. He had like a defender. I don't think he had any tuner. He didn't have any tuner, so that wouldn't have been the best, but it would have been some. So he's taking a long time to side, so maybe he's siding out the package there. The skill drain package. I think the Urbellum play ended up being correct, even though I just ran into a Mirror Force, right? Because if I had that guard plus Airbellum field, I don't think that would have done anything. So I do stand by that play. I think trying to win with Oppression plus Book with Urbellum face up was probably fine, knowing that he had Stratos. All right, this hand's obviously pretty good. Any hand that has Monk double spell, yeah, so this hand's really good. I'm going to go set Dust Tornado, set Tomato, and then probably just pass with that field. Actually, it might be better to set both of these and then just assume he doesn't have Heavy Storm. The reason why I think I might set both of them is if he goes Summon Stratos, I can bottomless it, Dust Tornado end phase, and then Monk double spell. If he puts a monster on the field, it's not a guarantee that I'm actually able to win from that spot, because if the monster has too much attack, I won't be able to deal the damage, and then the tomato might not be enough itself. Yeah, so I think I'm actually going to go bottomless and Dust Tornado. If he goes Summon Greph or Summon Stratos, summon anything big. There's a universe where I don't even... No, I put tomato on the field. I was thinking about if he has Valley, but the only way that really punishes me is if he has Valley plus 2. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go set tomato. The reason I'm going to set tomato, not summon tomato, is I don't really care if he noblemans it. And I have so many good set cards from Spider or Ico that it's a decent... I say bluff, but it's a decent illusion of something that's not tomato, right? And if he has Storm, he has Storm. It's okay. I can win through Storm. And I think with Bottomless, it clears the field if he summons a big monster. And if this tomato lives, then I actually can go Monk, discard this, summon Cat, and then I have a level 4, plus the Monk, plus the Cat's 2 Airbellums, and I can mind control a Cyber Valley. So if he just goes set... or summon Cyber Valley, set a back row, I can actually still win by not using 2 spells because this is a level 4. You don't need the fact that this is a spellcaster unless you're going into Arcanite. You just need 2 level 4s and a Rescue Cat to resolve into 2 Airbellums. And then that's 8,000 damage with the double Dark Strike Fighter attack directly. And if he sets a monster, I can also just mind control it. Presumably something like a Dekoichi. Oh, he may have disconnected. Hopefully he gets back within those 80 seconds. This has been a good match. Okay, sweet. He's back. Yeah, but I have a lot of ways to get a second level 4 on the field without having to go Monk double spell. Do I just bottomless this? Probably. His deck needs a lot to continue from this point. You know, he needs one of the 2 Destiny draws plus Greffer. It's very, very difficult. His deck doesn't have the traditional extenders of emergency teleport that you would assume out of these decks. I think I'm going to activate this because I want to clear the field. So it seems, you know, horrible advantage-wise to bottomless Stratos, but he needs multiple back rows, and if he doesn't have multiple back rows, I can just Dust Tornado and presumably win from there. Yeah, the fact that he searched Defender confirms that he still has the skill drain package. This is obviously the... Okay, that's fine. Gold Sark doesn't do anything against what I'm about to try and do. What I am doing here is obviously, you know, tunnel visioning into presumably winning the game, so that banish indicates that he probably has Machine Dupe or Return. But I'm sort of tunnel visioning into the Monk OTK, which, you know, we could debate, do you play this deck conservatively? Because I could have just let that Stratos resolve, and then I could have sat there with the tomato, and then, you know, flipped the tomato and, you know, played an advantage game. we'll see what ultimately ends up happening. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any reason not to. Dust Tornado that. Do you have Gores is the real question. He has not taken any damage. I'm just trying to think, if I have to continue this game, what? You know, if he has Gores, I think it's better to have Book. Mind Control won't do anything. Do I still go into the second Monk? So if I put a Monk right here, and I use the Book of Moon in hand to go into Airbellum, I have Airbellum, and then I have Tomato. And I can, at the bare minimum, go Arcanite Magician, make him discard a card with Airbellum, have Solemn Judgment back up. Yeah, I think that's probably the play, to do it like this. That way, I can go to Grave, Airbellum. Yeah, he says GG, but I am going to play it out just to show you what I was going to do. And then I go to Grave, summon Dark Strike, which the highest damage output of a single monster. Now the Airbellum attacks directly. Okay. So in his game, if he had Gores, he drops Gores here. He loses another card. I Dark Strike Fighter over the Airbellum token that was created. Then I go main phase 2. I can go here into Arcanite Magician. And then I can pop the Gores and then set Solemn. So at least I have some type of follow-up. Yeah, so with Gores, I still had a decent play. But yeah, he had Machine Duplication. He must have drawn that Valley, which is a little annoying there, right? Yeah, off of the Allure. I thought you might have a Duster MST. Yeah, fair. If he had another draw, I mean, return with this Banish pile is really good. Yeah, it doesn't really help setting a bluff. I mean, if he set a bluff, I might not have gone for that. Because I drew Solemn, I could play a little bit more passively. So it's interesting there if he set the bluff. I honestly would have just flipped Tomato and attacked that Solemn. I would have played way more passively because Solemn would have given me the confidence there. Because I hit the return, so if he just had... Well, I would have still dusted. Because I'm afraid of, Dust Shoot. I'm afraid of returns. I still think I would have Dust Tornadoed, even if he set 2 back rows. Maybe not, though, because of Skill Drain. And maybe I need to hold Dust Tornado. That's an interesting decision. I would have to kind of go back and look at it. But regardless, thank you for watching. It's Giorlando for Yu-Gi-Oh! History. Check back soon for plenty more Yu-Gi-Oh! content.